Is back into it in Chester. Here's El Senior. Yes! Yes!
The center back, Jacob Glesnes, is going for it.
Oh my God! What a goal! And that will do it! One of the best comebacks in recent years. 3 unanswered by the Union. And they go into the Gold Cup break. Winning it 3.
Hello, welcome to the Free Kick Podcast. My name is Todd. Well, the one thing I can say is I'm really happy that I decided to record this podcast the day after the game, because I feel like if I would have recorded this game right after the Orlando City game, it just would have been a whole bunch of complaining, yelling, screaming, and let's be honest, none of us really need that and everything, so I'm happy, I was able to just go to bed after the game, go to work, think about the game while I was at work, and now come home and record this episode for you guys. But as we know, our Philadelphia Union, they tied last night against Orlando City 1-1. And I've got to be honest, I've definitely got a lot of thoughts, like a lot of you guys, I'm sure, have. And I'll definitely try to get to as many of those thoughts as I can and everything. And let's just go ahead and start. Before we start with the news, I just want to keep reminding you guys about the Philadelphia Union 2020 jersey giveaway that I am doing, running it from July 9th through August 9th. And a lot of you guys have participated and, entered and everything. And come on. Like, I know there's a lot of you guys that are listening to this podcast that haven't entered and everything. And, you guys don't have to do anything but these 3 main ways to enter. And that is leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Like always, search The Free Kick, Todd Lewis. Show a screenshot of your review. That gets you 2 entries. Tag a friend. That gets you 1 entry. And retweet the post. And that's another entry for you. So, 4 entries that get you 3 simple ways to enter. Only a max of 4 entries per person. The winner has 24 hours to claim his or her prize after the drawing. If the 24 hours pass without the winner claiming the prize, then we'll draw a new winner. And as always, to be eligible for the jersey, you have to be following the Twitter account at FreeKickPod. Like I said, a lot of you guys have taken advantage of this giveaway and everything, and I'm really appreciative of all of you guys that have just gave me a review on iTunes. It means a lot, guys. Like I've said, the more reviews I get, the more 5 stars and everything. That puts me up the soccer podcast rankings. Now, granted, I definitely have a long way to go. But, the more, the higher I get up there, the more reviews, the more giveaways I can do, because I just want to give to you guys, because you guys have given back so much to me by listening to this podcast when you guys have a lot more things to do. So I'm always appreciative of you guys taking time out of your busy schedules listening to the podcast. But I do want to get to the news now. So let's just jump straight into it, because we've got a lot to talk about. So first off, let's just go ahead and talk about what the Union announced on July 17th, that they traded their 2020 first-round pick for the rights of Orlando City homegrown player, defender Nathan Harriel. Nathan joined the Union's academy last January, and he graduated 6 months after playing 22 games for Bethlehem Steel, who are now U2, Union 2. And Ernst Tanner had this to say about Nate Harriel. He said, "Nate is a promising young player who has a lot of potential to thrive in our style of play. He can dominate wide areas with his speed, and he looks to play forward quickly after winning the ball. His versatility on the back line makes him a valuable assist to the first team, and we look forward to watching him develop as he continues to progress through our system." Now, he plays primarily as a right back, but he can also slide in as a center back, and the first thing everybody thinks of, right back, there's a Ray replacement. So, I don't know, I think Ray Gaddis has a couple more years and everything, but Nathan could definitely take that spot once Ray Gaddis, just doesn't have any more in his tank and everything. There's a guy who has looked good in the U.S. Youth National Team. He's been called up to the U18s, the U19s, U20s, and the U23 team, earning 6 appearances across those 4 teams. In his most recent appearance with the U20 team, he netted his first goal in a 2-2 draw against Mexico. So, anytime you get to score against Mexico, That's a feat you'll never forget. And I don't care if it's the U14s, the U18s, 19s, 20s, the full team. Mexico is Mexico, and everybody knows that's a huge rivalry for the United States and everything. So for Nathan to get caught up to these four teams and everything and to impress, this guy is one to keep an eye out for the future. And I think, if he keeps progressing, if he keeps developing like the Union think he's going to develop, he will definitely get his chances with the Union. The contract will come in effect in 2021 and everything, so he'll finish out the rest of the season with U2, and then he'll sign a homegrown deal with the Union that goes into effect starting next season. So really looking forward to, again, another promising player the Union have coming through their system, and I know there's going to be a really, really good player to keep our eyes on. But the next bit of news I want to talk about is, according to The Athletic, MLS announces the inaugural seasons for incoming expansion clubs Charlotte, St. Louis, and Sacramento have all been pushed back due to COVID-19 pandemic. Charlotte will begin playing in 2022. St. Louis and Sacramento will enter the league in 2023. Austin will begin as scheduled in 2021. And then they followed with another tweet that said, significant delays in stadium development in Charlotte and Sacramento play a role in pushing back. St. Louis hasn't been impacted on the stadium front, but COVID has made things like building out a staff, finding sponsors, etc. difficult. So that is why those three teams have been pushed back to 2022 and 2023. And speaking of St. Louis, according to Ben Fredrickson of St. Louis Post-Dispatch, St. Louis will announce team name, colors, and crest in a virtual event on Thursday, August 13th. So looking forward to seeing the name and everything. Hopefully it's not one of these cheesy FC names like I said about Charlotte, and time's a ticking and everything. So, I said it before and I always say, I love the Philadelphia Union team name because it's not a FC, it's not a SC, it's, it's unique and it's what makes us us, in my opinion. And finally, speaking about the Union, they will play this upcoming Saturday, July 25th at 10:30 p.m. against second-place team in Group C, which could either be New England, DC United, or Toronto. But regardless, by the time this podcast is out, you guys and myself included will already know who the Union are playing. And shout out to Mike Thomas for, he's always making spreadsheets and whatnot on social media. And so he came out with a scenario. So if DC win by a score of 1-0 or 2-1, that means that the Union will play DC United. If DC wins by a goal difference of 2 or greater, which would put DC United in first place in Group C, then the Union will play Toronto. If DC lose, then it will be New England for the Union. If DC win 3-2, it equals DC United because of the disciplinary tiebreaker. And finally, if DC win by a goal difference of +1 and score 4 more goals, then it will be Toronto. But again, none of that really matters because by the time you guys are done listening to this, we already know who the Union are playing. But always shout out to you, Mike, for making those spreadsheets and everything while all of us are at work and staying busy and everything. So it's always nice to hop on social media and see what you're creating and everything, so we don't have to go and do the research ourselves. And in case you guys were wondering, the Union are 15 wins, 4 draws, 11 losses against DC United. I talked about that when we were doing the Union Quiz podcast and everything. New England Revolution, the Union have a record of 15 wins, 5 draws, 7 losses. And against Toronto, the Union are 7, 6, and 11. But again, it doesn't matter. That stuff doesn't matter. This is a crazy tournament and anything could happen. So let's hope for, I guess, either New England or DC United, us Union fans on social media are saying. And, whoever's in the way, I think the Union are going to make a big run in this tournament. And hopefully they'll come home with some silverware. But let's, focus one game at a time. And let's go ahead and start with something that I don't normally start with this early, which is Blunder of the Week. I just want to get this out of the way and everything because I really, really, really don't want to spend half of this episode ranting and everything. So you guys already know who I'm giving the Blunder of the Week to by just saying that. And it really came down to 2 blunders this week, either Jim Curtin substitute selections or Rubiel Vazquez not going to VAR for that handball against Orlando City at the end of the game. Well, Rubiel, you are getting my Blunder of the Week. Honestly, checking VAR at the end will get talked about the most, but Rubiel just had a terrible game all around, and not talking about that VAR handball call at the end of the game, not going to VAR, I should say. I mean, where should we start? I mean, there's multiple moments in this game that just leave you scratching your head. Bedoya was fouled in the Union's box prior to Orlando's goal, but Rubiel didn't even acknowledge it. A soft yellow card on Glesnes when he went up for the ball on a set piece by the Union. I thought this game was getting chippy at times, and he just wouldn't step in and do anything about it. And a referee, the more he lets stuff like that go on and everything, somebody's going to get hurt. It always happens and everything. And I think he should have got this game under control way earlier than he did. Yeah, Bedoya's yellow card he got in this game was probably deserved and everything. I think it was a yellow card. But you look at some of the fouls that Orlando City made prior to that, not getting a card. Rubiel's like, okay, guys, okay, look, here's your warning. Your fifth warning, your sixth warning, whatever. Just calm it down and everything. And the call on Glesnes, that was just, it's going up for a 50-50 ball. And you see this play all the time in soccer. And yeah, I don't agree with that. A stupid yellow card on that. And I know on social media, a lot of you guys, I'm sure, have probably seen it by now. I posted a screenshot showing that Rubiel was from Florida. And I know that leads to conspiracy. And it's like, oh, because he's from Florida, that's why he didn't look at VAR for anything. Now, of course, I don't think that's the case at all. But there is definitely people out there that will think, yep, that's the case. That's 100% because he's from Florida. He favored Orlando City, and that's why he didn't give the Union any of these calls that would have got them all 3 points and everything. But, it's Orlando City, and yeah, I'm from Miami, so theoretically I wouldn't want Orlando to win. But it's still Florida. And this is how you start controversies, by having the ref from a team that's from the same state as him, the same county, whatever. And I really think, when MLS is picking these referees to reffing games, they really shouldn't place a referee in a game that has a team that's from the same place as him. It's just, it's how you get controversy. And I really think MLS should have done a better job selecting that, because I don't think that, because he's from Florida, this is why he didn't go to VAR. But like I said, there's definitely people out there that are going to think that way. And yeah, MLS doesn't need conspiracies on their hands. So there's that. But let's go ahead and talk about this Union versus Orlando City game. Like I said, we all know that the game ended 1-1. I thought Orlando City losing Junior Irsay early, that was a really, really big blow for them. He was seeing a lot of the ball early for Orlando. He's a guy who sits in the center of midfield, who can split a defense open, who's quick into getting into open space. I know he had a shot on Andrew Blake's goal early in this game, but I guess he cramped up and everything, couldn't continue on for this game, which was a big blow for Orlando and a huge, huge plus for Philadelphia Union. I thought Mark McKenzie, Krival, and Kai Wagner, I thought they let too many people run by them into the box last night. I look at the Orlando goal that Krival was caught ball watching, and then he pulled a Harris and was just pointing instead of following the runner. Now, that's honestly probably the only negative things that I can pick on Warren for last night, is for allowing people to run by him and for not tracking the runner that led to Orlando's goal. But, Warren, he did get dribbled past 2 times last night, but, Orlando, they really weren't attacking that much down the center of the field against the Union. But if you look, Warren, he blocked 2 shots. He stole the ball 4 times from Orlando players. And that's exactly what you want out of your number 6. You want somebody who's throwing the body on the line, who's getting in front of shots and everything, who's going to be aggressive, win the ball back and everything. And for the most part, I thought, minus the 2 negative things I said about Warren earlier, I thought Warren had himself a really, really, really solid game, stepping in for El Brujo, who was suspended and everything. I know we definitely missed the intensity, not the yellow cards so much, but the intensity, the high press that El Brujo brings, we definitely missed that. But for a 1-game spot filler, I thought Warren played well against Orlando. Now, I also want to bring up Sergio Santos, Brendan Aronson, and Kasper Schrebelko. I thought 3 of those guys, I thought they lost the ball way too many times last night. I think they lost the ball 4 times apiece, and you expect, your number 10 to lose the ball quite often because he's creating chances, but well, maybe not quite often, but you do expect him to lose the ball every now and then because the job as a number 10 is to create chances and everything. And at times they are going to lose the ball and everything, but you know, minus Kai, like I said earlier, allowing people to run by him on a couple occasions. I believe him and Jameer did an excellent job attacking the left side of Orlando's defense, which was the weakest side for Orlando, in my opinion. But going back to Kai though, like I said, I mean, other than allowing people to run by him a couple of times last night, I believe him and Jameer did an excellent job attacking the left side of the Orlando defense. Kai put in multiple good balls all night, I felt like, but unfortunately people weren't there to attack them. Aronson should have buried that shot near the end of the first half. Sergio, he was central. He makes a run into open space on the left side of the box. What an excellent look by Casper to find Sergio. And by the way, I thought Casper dropped deep a lot last night to collect the ball, to get on the ball, because he wasn't seeing much of the ball unless he was coming deep to get the ball, which you never want to see that from your striker. You always want to see them high up the field and everything, but that wasn't the case last night. Orlando, I thought, did a good job, just making Sergio and Casper work for the ball, not, let us just sit here and allow the ball to come slowly to our feet and everything. Let us not just stand like a statue in this spot and everything. No, they made them move around and especially collect the ball deep. Like I said, Casper was having to do a lot during the night. But Sergio's first touch when he received that ball from Casper, it let him down. But luckily, he was able to collect the ball, take a couple touches, and get a shot, which the keeper for Orlando City spilled. And Sergio was able to outmuscle the Orlando defender and find Brendan wide open when Brendan decided, unfortunately, I'm shooting wide, and the ball went wide. And now I know Aronson was hurt, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, I promise. But in my opinion, he's got to put the ball on target. Even if he was off balance, even if he was hurt, you've got to at least work the goalkeeper there and everything. But other than that, I really can't hate on Brendan. I really can't hate on this team at all. And honestly, if it wasn't for Andre Blake coming up big last night, like he has all tournament, then I'd probably give the man in the match to Jameer Montero, which brings me to a couple good points I want to bring up, which Jameer Montero, he made 4 tackles last night, and all 4 of those tackles, he won the ball back for the Union. And like I said earlier, just him and Kai were connecting well on the left side of the field, opening up the Orlando defense. When Warren would be caught up high on the field, when he would try to win the ball back, Jameer was there to fill the space where Warren should have been, but Jameer was there to put out the fires and everything. He was doing well to win the ball back for the Union. He was doing well to try to start a counterattack, and he was an engine all night. And as we know, players like that go unrecognized throughout all of soccer and everything. So I thought it was a really, really good game for Jameer Montero, even though, he didn't test the keeper on his free kick or on that long shot when he won the ball off a 90 near the end of the game. But, he did the dirty work. And like I said, players like that, they go unrecognized all the time in soccer. And I love having a player like that, and so thankful that, like I said so many times on this podcast, that we have a player like Jameer Montero. Now, on the play leading up for El Senior's goal for the Union, I thought Brendan did a good job running out wide to the left. Kai did an excellent job finding Brendan, who was able to collect the ball, cut inside to his right. We found Ali Bedoya wide open, who then played a ball out to the right side where El Senior was wide open. El Senior takes a good couple of touches and slots the ball in nicely past the goalkeeper's right. Kind of reminded me of that goal that Ali Bedoya scored against New York City. But I thought on that play right there, I thought the Union, they made really, really nice ball movement to go from left to right. You love to see the Union just move the ball like that and everything, not be one-sided. We all know the Union love attacking primarily down the right side of the field, but for them to collect the ball out on the left, to find somebody wide open in the middle, who then finds somebody wide open on the right side of the field. It was just excellent ball movement, and they didn't even cross the ball in the air. Everything stayed on the ground, so I thought it was a really good sequence that led up to a goal for the Union. And again, the last point I want to make is Andre Blake, just another man of the match performance for me. He made 6 saves, saved well on Mendez, who made a run in behind Wagner. The ball was still loose. Mueller runs onto the ball, but Blake did well to make the save on him. Andre Blake, he's been playing like the goalkeeper he was in 2016, which I was curious how many years Andre Blake still had left on his contract, because I was like, he's got to be coming close to the end of his contract if he's playing this well. Well, I looked it up, and Jonathan Tannenwald reported back in 2018 that Andre Blake signed a 3-year deal with a club option to take the deal to 4 years. So that means that the contract runs out at the end of the 2021 season, but the Union have the option to extend it for another year, which would take them up till 2022. But yeah, I mean, a lot of good guys, a lot of good on this game by the Union. But I do want to go into the bad. There were a couple bad moments in this game, and both of those bad moments, in my opinion, came from Jim Curtin. And after this, guys, we'll just get to some listener questions that you gave me and everything. And these 2 clips I'm about to play for you kind of tie into the listener questions and everything. But I'm going to start off by playing this first clip.
He actually did it last game, so yeah, he's familiar with it. He's a really talented player. He could probably play any position on the soccer field, which is saying something for a guy that's 6'5", and he did a great job filling in at the 6. We just thought at that time Warren's legs he got a little fatigued. He emptied his tank, put everything into the match, and we decided to get Jacob on the field, who's a great player as well, and then just put Jack right in front of him with Ollie, and he did a good job. He played that position in college. He's got great feet. I honestly think he could play striker in this league. He's that talented. So it helps to have versatile players, and we utilize that to close out the game.
Now, I'll just start with the last thing that Jim said there. And he said, I honestly think Jack Elliott could play striker in this league. Now, maybe Jim is right in everything. We've seen Jack Elliott score a lot of crucial goals last year for the Union with his head on set pieces, and he scored a goal. Where was it, against Houston? Was it with his head? Was it with his foot? I can't remember. I mean, he does find himself in good positions and everything, but I don't think Jack Elliott can play striker in the league. But, there's a reason why Jim Curtin's coaching the Union, and I'm making podcasts not coaching the Union. So Jim knows more than me, and I disagree that Jack can play striker. But, again, that's why Jim's coaching the Union. But I just thought it was weird just moving Jack Elliott in the number 6, bringing on Glesnes when he admitted, we needed to bring Warren off. Okay, great. Yeah, I agree. Warren was probably tired and everything, and let's get a substitution in for him, and ideally you would bring on Ortvatz. He's the natural fill-in. He plays center attack defensive midfielder. And to not even consider him, I think that's really telling, guys. Because we knew Ortvatz was far down the pecking order, but to play Jack Elliott as the center defensive midfielder over Ortvatz, man, that does not sound good at all for him. And I'll get to the first question, which came from @Scotty10711, and he asked me last night on Twitter, why buy Ortvatz in the offseason? And that was in regards to me tweeting, we're not going to see Ortvatz, when I saw Jacob Glesnes coming on for Warren Krival. And I responded back and said, because Ernst thought he'd be more ahead of El Brujo in terms of adapting to the league. I believe when he gets his chance, he'll make good, but it's up to him to get caught up to speed. He's only 22 years old, and it's his first time away from his country. And then Scott followed up and said, can't he also slide over to the right to play right back? And yeah, he can play right back, but if you go on transfer market, he's only played right back twice in his career, where he's played center back 20 times. So he's played center back a lot more than he has right back. But naturally, Ortvatz's position is in the center of the midfield, and really, really telling, very concerning that he didn't get called to action last night. And again, Jim Curtin sees these guys every day in practice. We do not, and he knows what's best for the team. And I'm not going to say that I know better than Jim Curtin, because if I did, then I guess I'd be coaching the Philadelphia Union. Yeah, we can get upset with these substitutions that Jim made last night, but he's there on the field and everything. He's feeling the energy and everything. And yeah, we might be seeing something different than Jim and everything because we have a higher angle, but Jim's there in the heat of the game and everything. He's making decisions off of his gut. And if he thinks that Jack Elliott's a better number 6 than Ortvatz, at this time, then so be it. Yeah, I don't think that the Union shouldn't have bought Orvat. I mean, this is a guy who was on the Young Players of the Year award over in Europe last year, and yeah, he's got talent, but at the same time, like I said, it's his first time away from his country. I think, I do think that he'll get caught up, and it might take a lot longer than all of us want to happen, but I don't think that he's a flop because he hasn't got a chance to play. He scored a banger against Inter Miami, which, I thought we would see him against Miami because he scored that banger in the preseason against them. But, just because you score bangers doesn't mean, oh, well, let's go ahead and start you and everything. Jim knows what this team needs, and I seriously doubt we'll see Orvat at all against whoever we play this Saturday night and everything. But Jim did talk about, a lot of young guys is going to be their chance to get them minutes and everything in this tournament. And if we were going to see young guys get minutes, it was going to be in these 3 group stage games. Now the Union are into the next round, in the round of 16, and they're going to want to make a deep run in this tournament because it's a spot in the CONCACAF Champions League next year, and I believe the Union have a really good chance to make some noise in this tournament and potentially come away and win the whole thing. Now, I do want to play this last clip from Jim Curtin, and this is in regards to Brenden Aaronson.
Yeah, that was the hard knee to the back. It's been done for many years by several defensive midfielders, so it's part of the game. It happens. Is it a yellow card? Probably, but he was clever about how he got away with it. But just, right on the spine of his back, just tightened up, and it was problematic for him all game. But at the same time, I give him a lot of credit. I told him at halftime, these are the games that you can't come out of. You got to want to stay in. A lot of points, big points on the line, and a high pressure game. So I was happy for him for gutting it out. He still created a lot of chances for us. I thought he was very dangerous and dynamic with the ball.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, credit to Brenden and everything for staying out there, playing most of this game with an injured back and everything. Jim said he was feeling the effects the whole game and everything, and credit to Brenden for staying out there and everything. But at the same time, I thought it just made too much sense to bring on Fontana for Aaronson at the start of the second half, move Montero to the number 10, allow Fontana to play on the 8 and rotate with Montero between the 8 and the 10. But Jim didn't see it that way. He kept Aaronson out there for most of the game, and it was just so concerning because Jim Curtin had made 2 substitutions by the 88th minute, and then he eventually brings on Matt Rial, but for the 3rd substitution. But I just don't get it. When you had a chance to win this game, you bring up Matt Rial, and you move Kai Wagner to left center back. And I know it was near the dire end of this game and everything where you brought on Matt Rial hoping that he would just give you energy. You guys knew you were going to attack down the left side of the field and everything. And Michael Van Sand, who's a friend of the pod, you guys have heard him multiple times on this podcast, where he went ahead and asked, were you disappointed that Matt Rial was subbed in instead of Fontana? And yeah, I mean, I was just, not only that, I was just, like I was just saying, I was disappointed that Jim Curtin went all the way until the 88th minute, and he made only 2 substitutions, and then he eventually brings on Matt Rial, and like I said, moves Kai Wagner to left center back, which is fine for the last couple minutes and everything, because Kai probably doesn't have too much to keep going up, down the left side of the field and everything, so it makes sense to leave Kai back and everything, let Matt Rial just run down that left flank and everything. But I wanted to see Michi Galina the last few minutes of the game. I mean, there was tired legs out there. And yes, that's exactly why you put out Matt Rial, so he can run at tired legs. And Jim Curtin, like I said, knows better than us. And Galina coming off an injury and everything. Matt Rial, we've seen him come on last season where he linked up with Anthony Fontana for a goal last season where Rial plays the left side of the diamond and creates a chance and everything. And Jim Curtin's hoping for that same kind of production again, and it didn't come and everything, but it's just really concerning that we didn't see Fontana. We didn't see Wooten, who, if we were going to see Andrew Wooten, it was going to be for 10, 15 minutes at most, and we didn't even get the chance to see that. But yeah, it's disappointing, the substitutions and everything, because that's something that could have an impact on. They're the ones who could affect that and everything. Jim Curtin has 5 substitutes to play with, and to leave it until the end of the game to make your 3rd change and everything, I don't agree with it. And Jim Curtin's a great coach and everything, and I don't want to bash him for that decision and everything. The Union, they come away with 1 point, and I think both of these teams probably deserved a point apiece. Look, the Union, they had a lot of the ball, a lot of the possession in Orlando's half in the first half. The Union, they didn't capitalize on that enough. I'd like to see the Union try to attack more down the middle, but like I said earlier, we just know that their play style is to attack the right side of the field, and that's fine and everything. And, we'll take the point and everything. That's now 4 games unbeaten for the Union against LAFC, New York City, Inter, and now Orlando. And the Union, they sit in 4th place in the regular season with 8 points. So, I mean, really, you can't complain and everything. The Union are in a good position. They're moving on to the round of 16 and everything. And I'm going to finish it out right here with Union Nut 26, who is Justin Friedberg. He asks, I don't know about you, but if there's one thing I've noticed, it's that the play in the final third seems almost disjointed at times. Would you agree? And what do you think they need to address for the knockout stages? No, you're absolutely right. We've seen against Miami and Orlando where Sergio Santos has taken some bad touches. We've seen Casper take a couple bad touches. We've seen the Union take a couple too many touches where a play is on and everything, but they take a couple more touches of the ball, and now that play is off where a guy was wide open, and they've got to be more clinical. They've got to be more clinical in the final third, and what needs to change? I mean, obviously not a formation change, and I wouldn't change the formation from Sergio, Casper, Aronson, Montero, El Brujo, Bedoya, and then Mackenzie, Elliott, Gaddis, and Wagner, and Andrew Blake. Yeah, I wouldn't change your formation from that, but they've just got to be more clinical. And, is it rust? Yeah, probably. I'm not worried because the Union, like I said, they are in 4th place. They have 8 points. They collected 7 points out of 9 possible points so far in the 3 games that they played in this tournament. So I'm not concerned because, they're scoring. But they've got to be better. You're right. You're spot on. Everybody knows that. Jim Curtin said it. Ali Bedoya said it. They know they've got to be better in the final third of the pitch and everything. What has to change? The more they practice, the more games they play, I think they'll be fine and everything. I think they're caught up to speed than a lot more teams in MLS right now, which is great for the Union. And hopefully if it's DC United, New England, who have not looked the sharpest throughout this tournament, hopefully the Union can just take advantage of that and go on to the round of 8 and everything. But, you're right, Justin. You're right. It's the play in the final third is definitely disjointed at times. How do you change it? You just practice, in my opinion. So it's rust, and they'll get better. And sorry if that's not the answer that you're looking for. I know that's probably a basic answer. Probably Jim Curtin would say something similar along those lines. But other than that, I don't know how you fix that other than just practice. But I want to go ahead and say, thank you guys for taking time out of your day listening to this podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I always enjoy giving you guys content. If you guys aren't following the podcast, as always, go on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and follow the podcast at Free Kick Pod. Search the website at thefreekickpodcast.com. Like I said earlier, wherever you get your podcasts, just search The Free Kick, Todd Lewis, and it'll come up. And just thank you guys again. I'm just so thankful. I really am thankful that you guys listen to me ramble for 30 to 45 minutes every week and listen to the guests that I bring on, because it means a lot. You guys don't have to listen, but you guys choose to listen, and I appreciate it. Sometimes, I might not say the smartest of things. That's not a word. That's not how you phrase that. I might not say things clearly, but, that doesn't stop you guys from coming back and listening to the podcast. And again, I'm just so thankful. So I'm going to end it on that note because with that said, my name is Todd, and this is the Free Kick Podcast.